What would happen if humanity, faced with a doomed Earth, was forced to rely on genetic engineering and technology to survive? Man After Man and Anthropology of the Future speculates about the next 5 million years of human evolution. This is an interesting book. Is it realistic? No, I don't think so, not in the slightest. But I always love stories which take a look at the far, far future, and this one does so in an interesting way, both looking at the new and emerging species from a sort of textbook point of view, giving us basic information about their biology, but also giving us an insight into their day-to-day and what they're thinking. So I'm going to give you guys a brief overview of this book, but I encourage you to, if you're interested in what I'm discussing today, pick it up on your own, at the library or at a bookstore. So this book examines evolution, and especially parallel evolution, how one species in a different environment can develop in extremely different ways. It talks about what will happen to humanity when the technology that staves off the environment eventually fails or is no longer available. 200 years in the future, the Earth is in an extremely bad shape. It has been damaged almost beyond belief, sea levels are rising, crops are failing, waste production is out of control, and the birth rate has skyrocketed. Humanity has done two things to help their survival. First of all, a new genetically engineered species called the aquamorph has been created to take to Earth's seas, but humanity is also looking to the stars and has not only sent men into space, but has also genetically engineered a human offshoot species which can survive in the vacuum, the vacuumorph. Vacuumorphs are not true humans, not even close. They are forcibly bred, they live within a pressure-sealed body with artificial organs, including a third and fourth lung, and they have very little control over their life. Over the next 100 years, as Earth continues to deteriorate, the few surviving elite beings on the planet can now survive far longer within machine cradles while being tended by biological humans. However, their reliance on technology as well as inbreeding and more has put these elites in extremely poor health, and now this subset of humanity cannot even survive outside of the machines. Over the next 100 years, the artificial food processors which were keeping people alive have failed. Humans have largely killed each other off, there are very, very few survivors, and the Earth is actually beginning to somewhat recover. Some of the elites still survive and have created, through genetic engineering, several subsets of humanity to work on the recovering planet. Creatures meant to work in the recovering jungles and plains and tundras. This genetic engineering has also allowed the elites to move from a machine body to a body made of synthetic flesh. At this time, there are still a few remaining humans as we would know them today. However, 1,000 years into the future, a switching of Earth's genetic pools kills off most sapient life, leaving 4 species. Over the next several million years, the book examines how these species evolved, being shaped by environments which themselves are very extreme and undergoing climate change. 5,000 years into the future sees a symbiosis between the woodland and tundra human subspecies, while across the globe other species subdivide further based on their environmental requirements. However, things are still going okay for the aquatic humans who were created again sometime in the past. We see further evolution over the next several million years. The symbionts become even closer, even develop a telepathic link before later evolving into a parasitic relationship. The aquatics try to make their way on land, developing a new sort of skin, and are hunted by many of the other post-human species. We see hunters develop, which focus largely on eating meat, and a social species built around a hive with almost like a brood mother, which develops over time. That species actually eventually develops a hive mind and is one of the most interesting post-human species in the book, in my opinion. 3 million years into the future sees humans which look almost nothing like us today. There is the sloth man, too heavy to stand upright, the small desert runner which thrives in hot environments, and more. However, 5 million years into the future is when things become very interesting. One of the human colonies which left Earth in the 23rd century has returned. However, they return not as humans. They've been heavily genetically engineered to survive on other worlds. It's not even possible to tell which original ship they were or where they colonized because they're so different from what they were when they left. So different, in fact, that they can't even inhabit Earth in its natural form and are forced to live in isolated bubbles on the planet, which for the first time in 5 million years is again being rebuilt. These new builders turn to genetic engineering and twist Earth into their service. The host from before is transformed into a food creature, a being which exists only to feed the builders. We see giant beasts of burden created simply to perform heavy labor, and we see, sitting in mechanical suits, the descendants of humans riding across the planet. The book even says it's been so long that it's not even clear whether these humans realize, again, they're not humans by this point, but whether they realize that this is their ancestral home, or if this is just another planet that they're pillaging for resources. Anyway, despite the fact that their first years of colonization are relatively contained, they keep everything within a bubble, not only keeping the outside out, but keeping their waste within. Eventually it becomes too much, and the planet again is devastated. At this point, the builders leave, and everything, even the original human subspecies, are killed. The only thing surviving on the planet is the aquatic, and one specific breed of aquatic living very deep within the ocean, maybe to re-emerge one day and reclaim Earth for humanity. That is Man After Man, a very fun bit of speculative fiction that looks far off into the future. Now again, is it realistic? No, I don't think so. I don't think dramatic evolution occurs over such a short time period, but I don't necessarily think it's supposed to be a biological textbook. I think it's more than anything a criticism of over-reliance on technology. But again, that's Man After Man by Dougal Dixon. I'll link to the book down in the description if you want to check it out for yourself, or just get it at your library. Till next time though, guys, have a good one, be safe, and may the Force be with you.